Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are actually going to create the boot function and the crawl page function which we have discussed in the previous lecture. So let's first go ahead and create the boot function first, and then let's go ahead and jump into the crawl page function. So as I earlier mentioned, the boot function is actually going to be used to create the brand new project. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to define the code to exactly do the same. So let's type in def boot, and let's say this is going to accept the parameter as self. And now the next thing which we do is that we write in the code here to first open up a new project. So in order to create a new project, we already have a function which is actually called as create project dir. So as I said, we were going to make use of these functions later in our code, so now is the time to do so. So we type in create project dir, and to this you simply need to pass in the project name. So you type spider dot project name, and that's actually going to create a brand new project for you, and you don't need to actually have a self over here. Okay, so once you have done this, the next thing is to basically create the two files, that is nothing but the data files. So what you need to do here to create data files is that you could use the previously created functions, which is create data files. So you simply need to type in create data files, and to this you need to pass in the project name and the base URL. So you type in spider dot project name comma spider dot base URL. So these are the two things which we actually need to create the two base URLs. So once you're done with this, you're pretty much good to go. Now the next thing which we do is that once we have these two things done, the next thing which we need to do is that we actually need to convert the file to set. So what we do is that we type spider.q, and to this q we are actually going to pass in the information which is extracted by using the file to set function. So we type file to set, and now to this we pass in the q file. So we type spider dot q file right over here. So what this is going to do is that this function, which is file to set function, is actually present over here. So if you scroll down a little bit, as you could see, this is the file to set function. And when you type in this function, what happens is that it actually takes all the contents from a file, it reads those contents, and it actually returns us a result. Now these results are actually going to be stored in the spider's queue. So once this thing is done, you also need to have something in the spider crawled. So you type spider dot crawl. So this is actually going to contain the crawl files. So again we type file to set, and this is going to contain spider dot crawl file. Okay, so once this thing is done, we are pretty much done defining the boot function. So the main functionality of the boot function is to basically create the root directory, which is nothing but the project directory, which is in this case the site, and then it actually creates the two data files, which is nothing but the q.txt and the crawl.txt. And in order to create those, it actually needs information about two things. The first thing which it needs is the project name, then it actually needs the base URL. So once it has these two things, it could actually create those files. And then what we need to do is that as these two things are sets, you actually need to start adding elements to those sets. So we basically can use the file to set function to convert the contents of the q file and store them into the q set, and convert the contents of the crawl file and store them in the crawl set. So once you are done with this, you're pretty much good to go. So now in the next lecture, what we are going to do is that we are going to jump into the crawl page function, and we are going to create the crawl page function from scratch. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.